If you're looking to start bonsai but you're not sure where to start or how to get your first bonsai tree, in this video I'll be showing you the cheapest way of how you can get your first bonsai tree, as well as some steps on how you can start developing this tree into a great looking bonsai. And before we start this video, I want to let you know that I'm doing a giveaway for this willow leaf ficus bonsai. All you have to do is be a subscriber, comment down below your favorite tree species, and you are in. At 7,000 subscribers this weekend, I'll be giving away this tree and many more to come. Now, a local nursery or just a garden center that you might have a few miles away from you or just around the corner, this is the best and cheapest way that you can get your own bonsai tree. You might see all these really nice trees, but you're not sure where people get those trees. Well, most of these trees are just local trees. Keep in mind that mostly, if not any tree, can be turned into a bonsai tree. Now, the most basic ones are juniper trees, but there's different varieties that you can turn into a bonsai. From a local nursery, these trees can be so much cheaper than if you go online or to an actual bonsai store or bonsai nursery. Those trees are gonna be way more overpriced, and if you're just getting started, you might not want to start with something too expensive. However, if you go to a local nursery, you can find boxwoods, Japanese maples, you can have different varieties of trees that you can get started from, and of course, it's going to help a lot because these trees you will be able to do styling, you can do pruning on them, you can do wiring and repotting into a really nice bonsai pot. Of course, all of this needs to be done at the right time and at the right season for you to be able to keep the tree looking healthy and nice. But I'm going to show you some examples here of some of the trees that I was able to find from local nurseries and turn them into some pretty decent bonsais that in the future, with years, they're gonna be such a nice bonsai tree. Now, this is a sample of what I was able to find. As you can see, pretty nice looking roots, and this is something that you want to look for whenever you're searching for a bonsai tree from a nursery. Because once you have something like this, it's gonna be way easier to develop a nicer looking tree, and you can always chop them down. Again, I'm going to show you an example of a tree that I actually worked on. Here's another one, pretty tall tree. You also wanna look for something pretty thick, because the thicker the trunk, the better and nicer the tree could look. But it could also be a small tree. It doesn't really matter what size. Personally, I like those thicker trunk ones that look more mature. A bigger tree, it's always nice to see. But here's an example. I was able to find this crepe myrtle, and you can find crepe myrtles pretty much anywhere. This one was around $29 or so, and there was a discount on this tree, which I ended up paying like $22 or something like that. And again, it's a pretty tall tree, so yeah, you might be like, how can this tree be a bonsai? Well, this is how a lot of the bonsais that you see are started. They're not gonna look like a bonsai tree, but you're gonna work to turn it into a bonsai tree. As you can see right here, I'm pruning this tree and doing a pretty large chop on this tree. You always want to select how tall, how short you want your tree to be before you can actually start chopping down or anything like that. So in this situation, this is as tall as I want my tree to be, and the next thing is I put it into a bonsai pot, I repotted it, and there it is. Now, again, you don't want to do all these things at once. Bonsai is something that requires a lot of patience, so you can't do everything at once. This is just videos from different stages. I did the chopping, I left it alone, and then after that I repotted the tree after some weeks of recovery, and as you can see, there was some growth going on the tree, and just leaving it alone for now, just to let it recover. Just make sure you water it, and again, practice patience. You can't do much at this moment from the tree. Depending if you're not doing any major chops, then you can always start doing wiring. Now this is a tree after, I would say, 2 months or so, a lot of growth, and it looks way different. Now the wiring is pretty bad, but you have an idea of something that you can get from a nursery. And as far as your tree, you always want to select something that grows in your area. It's way easier, and this is the reason why getting a tree from a local bonsai nursery, I'm sorry, not a bonsai nursery, what am I trying to say, from a regular nursery, those type of trees, you are most likely to help those trees survive because they are used to your climate. So again, going into a regular nursery, you'll be able to find really cheap plants, and it's easier for you to make mistakes with these trees rather than you going out and purchasing a $400-$500 bonsai tree that is already developed. And if you don't know what you're doing with the tree, it's going to be way easier for you to kill the tree, and it's a big loss. Losing $500 just like that is not something easy. Versus if you go to a local nursery, you find a pretty decent tree that you'd be like, oh, I like how it's moved, I like the branches, I like this on that. Then in this situation, you can make mistakes, and if it possibly, hopefully the tree doesn't die, but if it does, there's not a big loss because you might have spent $30 to $40, and you can practice and you learn from those mistakes to not do those things again on the future tree that you get. So if you want to learn more about bonsai, click on the videos on the description.